Now, another suicide case has hit the country's university fraternity. This morning, a level 400 female student of the University of Ghana, Legon, was found lying in a pool of blood on the ground.
Some other stories. Police investigations have started into yet another set of suspected suicide cases. One at Jericho, a neighborhood at Ashaiman here in Accra, and another in Achim Amafro in the Afram Plains South District of the Eastern Region.
This is the scene where the incident happened. Tied to this tree here is the rope that the deceased used in committing the act.
Suicide is fearsome and difficult. It requires resolve and concentration.
After taking the poison, I really suffered throughout the night, but I did not die. I went and bought the poison, which I tried on the dogs. So 2 of them died. The other one, maybe he didn't eat because he survived. He was okay. So I said, okay, then the poison is potent, so I'll take it, and then all the troubles and all the hassles will be over. So I did take it.
Suicide is an act of courage. It takes the fearlessness of death itself to complete suicide.
It's like the future was bleak. So one early morning, I decided, let me take Parazone, and then, pray and hope that I just die and then it's over. So I drank Parazone.
But there's an error in the minds of people who complete suicide, that they are a burden to the people around them, and that everyone would be happier if they died.
But that is the reason why they are killing themselves.
I am happily married with 4 beautiful kids. Yes. So he came along, and then after that suicidal situation, I felt that, was it necessary to go on again with other relationships? But because of my value for family, my love for family, I also realized that I couldn't, keep deceiving myself that because something negative happened. So I became, more hopeful. And then he was also very supportive. I told him everything that had happened, but it didn't, he was laughing over it. He was like, you wanted to die because of somebody. And till that, he still makes fun of it, because he's like, please, you don't need to do that. I said, you haven't gotten to my point. That's why you're saying that.
I do. I think if I had died then, I wouldn't, since I don't know what my future would be like, I would have been happier. But now, seeing my future and knowing what I know now and knowing where I'm going, now I think I would have really made God very sad if I had taken my life then. Yeah. I think that is what it would have been, because I have a great mission which God has given me to do, and a lot of people are interested in my care, which I would have really let them down. But then I didn't know. I was happier. But now it would be really sad. I think I will not even be accepted if I go to the afterlife. I think I will be shipped to come back.
I think the various attempts failed because of grace. That is my understanding, because I believe some God somewhere wanted me to live and then better what I had done earlier. Because taking into consideration, people are taking less quantities of what I took. But considering the fact that I took 4 times the dose, and then I'm still here. The second time was the roof caving in. I think some God wanted to give me a chance to live and live to his purpose.
Statistics on suicide in Ghana remain very scanty. But in March this year alone, almost 10 cases of suicide were reported in the country.
People talk about the copycat syndrome, that once one is able to complete suicide and it is urged, it emboldens someone who is also contemplating to really actualize it. So it depends on the way we talk about it in the media. Okay, if we talk about it in terms of sensationalism, then there is no help. You are just muddying the waters and emboldening people. But if we talk about it in terms of the help, that there is help, and begin to delve deep into the emotional needs of people contemplating suicide, then they may know that there is help. If we don't use them to sell our newspapers, and we use them as case studies for help, then people, and especially if we have people who have gone through sharing the experiences and the help that they have gotten, instead of people who have bitter experiences, having been thrown into jail for committing suicide. If the consequence is jail, then I will make sure I complete it. The method will be lethal. I will look for the most dangerous, effective means to complete it. And so we must rethink, basically as a nation, our mental health system.
Sometimes I had flashbacks. Sometimes I cried because I know how close I got to becoming, one of them. And I also know how easy it was to turn me around when I got the right help. So it's so painful for me because I feel that if the person got just a little of the help I got from the US, the person wouldn't have taken that decision. And that is what has, made me so passionate about my foundation, because I think that people just need a little help, just a little kind of hope. Sometimes when I leave my numbers on TV shows and radio shows and people call me, the person goes like, just what you said today has made me decide that I wouldn't kill myself again.
There's an age-old debate among psychologists about whether people who commit suicide are cowards, brave, or selfish. There's no simple answer to this question, because in each one of us is an innate sense of self-preservation. But when people get suicidal, they defy this basic sense, daring death itself. Is this courage or pitiful fear and a cowardized desire to escape the realities of the cruelties of life?
That's irony. That's irony of life, because I want to die. I don't care whatever will come out. But when you die, you think everything will be solved. So that is being fearless. But taking also that step, it's cowardly, because you could have sought for help. You could have spoken to somebody. You could have done something about the situation. But when you hide from all these options and you think that suicide is the best option, that is where the cowardly comes in.
Well, I would say I'm always operating from strength-based perspective, not problem-based or deficit-based. I would say they are very, very brave. They are courageous. It is courage gone awful. So someone who has attempted coming to you and saying that you were a coward to have done that, immediately you shatters the person's confidence and hope. But if you will appreciate that the same energy and determination that the person utilized to attempt can be redirected to something beneficial, the person begins to, have hope, begins to know that, no, there must be something wrong the way I'm looking at issues, because it's the same strength that I'm deploying into this way. I can use it in another way. So the first thing you have to do is not to be judgmental. Because if you had been in his or her shoes, maybe you would be different. You would have acted earlier on. You have killed yourself earlier on. So it's an act of resilience. We must emphasize that to communicate hope. The last thing you will do in suicide prevention or in suicide helping people recover from suicide attempts is to communicate hopelessness, is to communicate failure, because they know that more than you do, but that is the reason why they are killing themselves, and you want to perpetuate that? No. You would have to, at all times, within your engagement with that person, communicate hope and debunk those negative assertions. They are a courageous person. As I said, there's an Akan saying that when in other words, it takes determination, courage to do whatever you want to do, even if it means you are killing yourself. You take that same determination to do that. You determine to complete it. That same determination to complete an act of suicide could be redirected to complete a project, to complete writing a CV, to complete writing an exam, reciting your paper. So it depends on what you communicate, whether you will communicate hope or despair. And I'm saying that suicidal person is coming from the place of despair. You do not compound his or her problem by perpetuating that despair. So if you are helping the person, sometimes you tell people, oh, they challenge the people. You dare not do that.
No, unfortunately, that's not it. They are not selfish. At that point, the person is depressed. So the person's thinking is no longer the right way it should be. That is what it's not like the person is thinking. Like I said, right now, if someone comes chasing us with death, I will run more than all of you, because my thinking is now straight. My thinking is right now. But if I had that negative, or if I was still depressed, I wouldn't be thinking straight. So the person is not thinking straight. So you don't even need to think of selfishness at that time. When they made me see the other side, the pain I would have caused, that was when, they brought back my thinking on track. But when I was suicidal, I made the pain, overshadow virtually everything around me. Sure. So even if you call me and you are talking of something that is helpful, all my mind was this man. This man must, come to track and let us move on with this relationship. And then he was also pushing himself away. So my mind was so focused on something negative that it wasn't about family. I still loved them. Okay, it's not like I was selfish, no, but I felt that, this is my life, and this pain is so much, you see. So they are not selfish at all. No, they are not. They are not. We are only trying to use that to stigmatize people who are suicidal instead of helping them. Even if the person is selfish in his thinking at that time, why not help the person, come back to the realization that you love the person. Even like I said, the fact that they told me that, it changed my thinking. Telling the person that what you are going through is nothing compared to the love I have for you alone, would make the person feel better.
Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that, yes, I could say I was being selfish, because in the first place, I thought only about myself without bearing in mind my daughter, who was then alive. I realized I would have left her alone and wouldn't have known what would have happened to her. But no, in the sense that I was the only one suffering. I was the only one being harassed. And then I was the only one being hustled. People were coming with police and all to my place. So if I ended it then, I would have been the only one to be, I would have left everybody alone. Because whenever I was arrested or I was put behind bars, I had to make calls to people for people to come and bail me out. And then I was becoming a nuisance to people. So I was not selfish. I wanted to get rid of the burden on them and also myself. But when I lost the girl, that is my daughter, when I lost her, then there was no cause for me to be here. She was the one who was keeping me after the first attempt, which made me think I was selfish. But since she was no more, I don't think I was selfish again.
The one question that everyone has asked without exception, that they ache to have answered more than any other, is simply why. Why did their friend, child, parent, spouse, or sibling take their own life? Even when a note explaining the reason is found, the lingering questions usually remain. Yes, they felt enough despair to want to die. In trying to find answers, people assign a lot of reasons, blaming suicide on demons, wicked spirits, and the devil.
What we do know is we have 33 million principal demigods that have been assigned to take care of material administration on behalf of God. But we have likewise same number of forces that are evil. So there are some situations that we can say yes, it's ordinary. For instance, there are people that commit suicide. They just because properly they are distressed, they are frustrated in life, they feel that everything has come to a halt, so they should end it. It's normal. But there are a lot of number of people also that they go through this experience not because they feel they are distressed and by their own will they want to kill themselves, but they are being manipulated from within by some evil forces.
And suicide happened also in the Bible. One clear example that everybody will know about it is one man by the name of Judas Iscariot. He is the one that betrayed Jesus Christ. How did he die? When he felt remorseful that, oh my God, I've actually betrayed an innocent man, and he saw that they were going to kill Jesus. He took the 30 pieces of silver, went to the chief priest and said to them, take off your money, take back your money. They said, we don't need your money, which means at that time they had let him down. He was remorseful. What was he supposed to do? Go to God and say, God, I'm a sinner, forgive me. Out of guilt, the Bible says he went to hang himself. That is suicide. And I'm come to give the second part of suicide in the Bible. There is a king in the Bible by the name of King Saul. He was pursuing David every now and then, trying to frustrate David. The Bible says one day he had a battle with the Philistines. And the battle was so fierce that the Philistines killed his sons, Jonathan and the other sons. And the Bible says the guys that were having the axes also shot at him. He began to bleed. When he bled, the Bible says when he saw that he was going to die, he called one of his servants and said to the servant, kill me. I don't want to die in the hand of these Philistines. The Bible says the servant said, King, I can't kill you. The Bible said Saul took his own sword and killed himself. Suicide. So right now when you check the time of Judas, he committed suicide because of guilt and also because he was remorseful. Number two, when you check Saul, he committed suicide because he didn't want to be defeated. So in our world, in our life, many people commit suicide in this particular context. When they are guilty about something, they are afraid to meet people, they kill themselves. Or sometimes the fear of defeat, the fear that they were at grace and now they are at grass, they kill themselves. Now let's go to the third person that actually wanted to commit suicide, but something happened. I'm saying all this so that will show the biblical and the spiritual background about suicide. There was a great prophet. He never died. He went to heaven. By now, know that you know the name called Elijah. Elijah kills the Baal worshippers. Jezebel hears about it, and Jezebel sends a word to Elijah and says, go and tell Elijah that tomorrow by this time, the way he has killed the Baal worshippers, his body will be like them. When Elijah heard about it, a great prophet, the Bible said he was downhearted and he went to God. According to 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 4, he went to God and said, God, am I better than my fathers? Father, I'm tired. take my life away. He was suicidal.
I remember when I attempted, several people came to me and then they advised me to go to this pastor, go to that spiritual person and all that. My take is that I am a Christian, I believe in God, I believe in the saving power of Christ, but we have to understand that we are human beings. And just like you get malaria and then you need to take some drugs to get well, when a person has depression, let's also allow the person to get the right treatment. We will pray, definitely. There's no reason not to pray, or there's nothing wrong with praying. But even as you pray, seek the right help for the person. Because God has given us, wisdom to work with. And God will not come down and do what we can do for us. He only does the supernatural. But what he has given somebody power or knowledge or wisdom to do, let's allow the psychiatrists do their work.
So for you, it's just a psychiatry issue?
Yes, depression.
It's not a spiritual.
I don't ascribe to it being spiritual. No, mine was not spiritual. If somebody has a situation that he or she thinks that is spiritual, that's a different thing. But I was depressed because of a breakdown of my relationship, and I was still going to church, all right.
Everything that is in the physical also manifests in the spiritual as well. And the enemy is very cunning. The enemy is a very funny person. And if you are not smart enough in the word, if you are not smart enough of who you are in the Lord, he can always use your difficult situation to make you think that the best solution there possible is to end your life, irrespective of who you are in the society, of what age you are, or how come you have, or how far you have come in this life. He can use your own situation to play on you and manipulate you to commit suicide. When that decision comes for you to take your life, there is nobody there to, if you are not lucky, depending on where you are, you will not even get anybody to distract you. Or your methods will work all right. You will do everything that you have to, but it wouldn't work on you. Suicide, when it happened last month, in the month of March, students and young children and fathers and whatever taking their life. It was sad, but I still think it's demonic, really. It's really demonic, because if I hadn't been through, I would say that it's silly. But I have been through before, so I wouldn't say it is silly.
Now, the reason why suicide is spiritual and it comes from the devil is this. Judas committed suicide. Before he betrayed Jesus, the Bible says, and Satan entered into him. So the time he betrayed Jesus, Satan was inside of him. After betraying Jesus and they didn't take this 30 pieces of silver from him, Satan was still in him. So Satan is the one that drove him to commit suicide. Now, let's go to Saul. When David killed Goliath, the Bible says an evil spirit from God came over Saul. That's how every now and then David will go to Saul's palace and go and play the organ so that the evil spirit can go for some time. So which means evil spirit also was following Saul. So they are the same spirit that made him to commit suicide. But when Elijah wanted to commit suicide, because the spirit of God was over his life, he never committed the suicide. So in our days, the devil plays an important role in the life of the person committing the suicide. And also, this one is not from the spiritual point of view, but physically, some people commit suicide because they are selfish. When they are going through an issue, they say to themselves, I will kill myself. I'll make sure I die so that when I die, you people, you cry. Many people that commit suicide, they think when they die, the people around them, their family members are going to cry and think about them. But listen, if you commit suicide after 1 month, 2 months, everybody forgets about you.
If somebody is being manipulated by evil forces to, commit such an act, you see, darkness itself is not real. Darkness is the absence of light. So anywhere there is light, there's no darkness. So when someone comes and a person is being manipulated by evil forces, the only thing, just try to enlighten the person. Put light around the person, then the evil forces will just leave. You don't need to go and pour oil or whatever it is. Spiritually, if you are very powerful, you are capable, you have the ability to drive away any evil spirit. So if someone comes around and the person is being manipulated, you just have to put light because there's darkness around. Like I said, darkness is never real. It's illusory. It is so illusory because it is outside of light that darkness, exists. So when you just throw light, that is it. So if someone comes with that kind of problem, spiritually be able to, just throw light into the person, then the spirit will leave. And what do I mean if I say we throw light? Is spiritually, God has given us this organ. We have our mind, our intelligence, and our ego that manipulates our subtle body. This our physical body too is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But when you sleep, you dream. The dream body and the physical body is not the same, because you dream having a sex with a woman or a man. The next morning you see something that yes, it happened, but you were in your room. But the dream, probably you saw yourself in Kumasi, so it means that it was happening, but not with this body, but with a subtle body. So that subtle body is what normally is being manipulated by these evil forces for them to be able to push you to do something that you are not even willing to do. So if someone comes and the person is being influenced this way, we have a way of doing so that the person will be free from these subtle attacks. Then the person is fine. And apart from that, you need to encourage the person by coaching. So we believe in life coaching.
In Islam, suicide is forbidden. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto his name, refrained from saying the prayer for the death for some who committed suicide in the Quran. The Holy Book says, whoever commits suicide will face hellfire, and whilst in hell, he would keep piercing himself with the sharp iron he killed himself with. If the individual drank poison, he would sip the poisonous substance on the way to hell and continue to do so till eternity.
I'm a faith person, and so I believe in the spiritual world, but in my practice I would want to do first what I know. Let us address the physical first. If it is spiritually inclined, what do? If you are a faith person, you pray and you cast out. At the end of the day, you also apply medication. It is not mutually exclusive. It is not mutually exclusive at all. And sometimes you want to draw a watertight distinction between spirits. We are spiritual beings. When you are coming from a perspective of holistic health, holistic mental health, you address the physical, you address the emotional, you address the economic, you address the social, you address the spiritual. At the end of the day, it is about perspective. And if this person says that this is my belief, I believe that I'm being bewitched, you don't discount that. Otherwise, you lose the person.
Yes, I was lucky to be introduced to church, and when I was going to the church, talking to people and all, I came to realize that taking one's life is not the end, because the Bible says when you take your life, after death there's what you call judgment. God gave you a beautiful life. Why would you want to cut it?
God has given you some time to live on earth. So if you end that life, the first punishment is, if you were supposed to live up to 50 years and then you committed suicide when you were 30 years, you have 20 years more. You remain in the body of a ghost for 20 years. And it's the most terrible experience, because in the form of a ghost, you feel hungry, you feel thirsty, you feel tired, but you cannot experience anything like eating or drinking or resting. So in that condition, it's the most terrible experience. So now God gave you 50 years. You ended it when you're 30. The remaining 20 years, you're going to remain in the body of a ghost for so many years. And after that, you'll be sent to hell to go and suffer for thousands of years. And then when you are coming back to this earth, you must pay something. It can be anything. You can be a mad person. You can be so poor. You'll be treated like a sick life right from childhood. There will be many, many punishments for you, just for you ending your life, because you don't have the right to take your life, because you can't give yourself life.
Don't take a permanent decision because of a temporary problem. Whatever happens to you is temporary. But your life was given to you by someone, and you don't have to take it yourself. Allow life to take its course. Work hard. Just stay positive, and definitely the right things will come at the right time. Yeah, it may not be what you want today, but definitely if you stay positive and you have the right attitude, and if you think that the pain is so much that you can't take it, seek the right help. Seek the right help. Call Favor Foundation for Life. Wherever you are, we would come to your aid. If we think that is beyond us, we will refer you to the Mental Health Authority or a psychiatrist